we've been fortunate to talk to you, a number of times over the last year, actually. Like, this is less than a year from your Series A. And the thing that I've learned speaking to your investors, is that you move quickly. Right, you move quickly on deployment of the tech, but you've also grown. Let's start by just asking, like, why did you need to raise $100 million here? There must be a need for that capital.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me again. It's great to be speaking with you all. For us, it's really about taking space missions further, faster. I think you guys have been really tracking the developments in the space industry over the past year, both on the commercial side and on government side. Domestically and abroad, there's a ton of enthusiasm for what we can do in space and really changing our perceptions on what's possible. Oftentimes, there winds up being more friction in taking those space missions live due to the ground. And that's something that has to change. We have to be able to push the boundaries on capabilities, and we have to be able to do that on a rapid timescale. So for us, what this funding represents is a significant amount of demand that we've seen from a wide variety of customers and being able to enable their missions to go further, faster. So this year has been a really exciting example for us to kind of show what that end-to-end concept looks like for Northwood. Many people do know us by our phased arrays, which is critical to how we think about the ground, really introducing novel hardware solutions so that we can do more in space. Right. But we view ourselves as an end-to-end partner for these space missions, all the way from the concept that they are initially coming up with to the time when their data is streaming live and actually delivered to end users. And we've actually done that. We've gone from an initial concept of saying, hey, let's have dynamic links that you can access, not just from low Earth orbit, but all the way up to geostationary orbit in the same system. And then let's show how fast we can bring that concept into reality. And so, we're talking today as well about our contract that we closed with the U.S. Space Force.
Well, Bridgit, let me jump in here. It's a $49 million contract with the Space Force. What will you be doing with them specifically? But also, my understanding is there is a link here between the money that you raised in the Series B and being able to kind of just execute on that contract.
Absolutely. Well, we've already executed on that contract across a number of milestones. So contract was executed, and at this point, there's been a 3-month turnaround time from kickoff of that contract to actually delivering links live in the field. So we have those links live in the field already. And so what the funding represents for us is let's scale that model. Let's do it more. Let's demonstrate how we're able to deploy a global network of this portal product that supports the dynamic links between low Earth orbit and geostationary orbit, but also serve up more space capabilities that we're getting a lot of appetite for. So the funding really represents being able to serve the appetite that we're seeing and hit larger production volumes.
Bridgit, we've been lucky enough to talk to some of your key investors, and Mina's been on the show before from Washington Harbour Partners, and he put it to Ed that Northwood provides the only viable approach capable of scaling ground station capacity. But you're not actually technically the only approach that could be taken, because you could also go to Blue Halo, for example. So what is your unique selling point? How are you differentiated from others that have been winning contracts?
Yeah, I think the way that we view our difference is really, for space providers today, they wind up running two companies. They wind up having to run the space mission that they're supporting, but they also have to stitch together a complex value chain of different pieces of the ground. They have to think about ground hardware, like you mentioned, Blue Halo, another developer of phased array hardware, but they also have to think about, sites, global shipping, logistics, operations around the world. They have to think about the software interfaces and the network backbone attached to that. And so where we find ourselves really differentiated is we take on that full problem scope. And I think, what we've connected with Mina specifically on is the importance of being able to deliver the end-to-end solution and do it on a condensed timeline. And we feel like there's huge value in being able to do that. And that's why we've invested in that kind of differentiated approach.
You very kindly said we've been focused on space for quite a while here on the show, and many are now training their eyes on SpaceX. But are you winning contract? How's your relationship being built with Starlink, for example? Are there any talks along that motion?
Yeah, I think for us, we've seen significant interest from commercial as well as government use cases. The ambition and the challenge for space just continues to grow. And for ourselves, we've had contact with that company and with other companies. And we're excited to have our capabilities just kind of be the proof in themselves that we are the infrastructure provider that makes sense for a whole host of industry use cases.
Bridgit, I know you don't want to focus on this necessarily. You know, you're a former actor, platinum singer-songwriter. You went away, turned to academia, founded Northwood right at the end of 2022, did a Series A at the beginning of 24, and now here we are. And I think there's a lot of interest to learn, how big is Northwood now? How many people? What is your footprint? Where are you deployed around the world? Because you have done it quite quickly.
Yeah, we're just around 70 people. We have sites deployed across 2 continents at this point in time. We have a full production facility running not just our phased array product, but 2 other hardware products that both fit in with that hardware stack as well as work in complement to it. So excited to be sharing those product lines as well. And this year is going to be a really big year for us. We're planning on deploying 18 sites across 5 continents. So just continuing to ramp up our production and the offerings that we can provide to the space industry this year.